actually currently now the financial management assessment by Standard & Poor's of the county is strong, which is the highest that they bestow on any agency. Over the last 15 years, the county's actually ratings have increased to where they are right now. To tell you a little bit about what the issues that make up our rating would be, there's a variety of factors, and really, in general, you can break them down into two areas. Ones that are directly controllable by the commissioners and the staff, and then those that are actually reflect the community that overlaps the county. Now, I'm going to tell you that we've done a lot of work in preparing for this debt issue. We've done a lot of work over the last couple of years having the county improve its ratings, and the county, all its controllable issues are considered very strong. It has a good financial position. It's saved cash, so it can pay cash for part of this. It has good cash balances in case of any operating issues. It brings its budgets. It always has balanced budgets. It generally always brings them in with budget surpluses. Its overall net burden for a county this size is considered very low. It's factors that actually reflect the community. You know them better than I do. You live here. They reflect this community, and they're moderate. I will also say that when it comes to the debt profile, the county has a lot of other responsibilities besides exactly what it does. It actually helps other communities fund a variety of projects, and we'll talk about that. And the majority of debt that this county actually is responsible for is not direct debt of the county, but debt of the overlapping entities. A couple key points that you should know is that when they look at the debt burden, our county has a very low carrying cost, only 1.4% of the fiscal expenditures. It's had some issues, like many entities. It has pension challenges. It's addressed its pension challenges and instituted a defined contribution program. And again, we've worked very hard, the county administrator and the finance officer, to improve every aspect of their financial reporting, both tracking, planning, and transparency. They've got the highest rating that Standard & Poor's bestows on anyone. So in general, they've worked very hard to have the highest ratings possible. And the reason they have the highest ratings possible is not just for pride, but the reality is that the higher the rating, the lower the considered risk to investors, the lower the interest rate that they pay, and ultimately the lower that the borrowing cost is for this project, and the lower taxes that citizens have to pay. I'll tell you that there's been a flight to quality over the troubled times. Us having a very high investment grade rating means that we'll be able to borrow at a very, very low cost. The bottom line is that there's a lot of money looking to look at municipal bonds, but people are very risk averse. We believe in today's marketplace, a high investment grade rating will allow us to sell bonds very cost competitively. To give you a little background, more details about the debt of the county. The county actually has a limit by the legislature how much debt it can fund. Legislatively, it can fund $447 million. It has $144 million of calculated liabilities. It's not really debt that it all pays for, but it's debt that it's quote, could be responsible for, and we'll talk about it. Much of that is paid for by fees and revenues from other sources as it assists other aspects of the community. But the main thing I want to say is that this high rating, our debt capacity, when people say, how much can you borrow, it always comes down to the same thing as individuals. It's how much you're willing to pay. When I say that we have a variety of things, and when I count the $144 million, we have to count our portion of the road commission transportation funds, and our finance authority commitment makes us look at everything that we do, our operating ad valorem tax, our quality of life tax issues. We have special assessments, revenues from townships. We issue delinquent tax notices annually that we actually clear up on an annual basis. We fund water and sewer for the communities, and we actually are part of the Michigan Transportation Fund. When you look at the amounts, this is the important thing for you in the county to understand, is that of the 144 million, this pie chart actually kind of breaks it out into sections. To give you a feel, $88 million represents wastewater and water funding for the surrounding communities. $28 million is special assessments. $8 million is delinquent taxes. 4.6 is a quality of life. Of these, only $17 million that we would consider to be operating expenses of the county. Of that, I also suggest, and we'll go to the next, I'll go a little later, $6 million was an energy saving program that they did that was guaranteed by the service provider, Honeywell, and they've actually received an audit. 106% of the savings are being realized. It's exceeding what the savings are exceeding what the cost of the program is going to be. When I said the debt structure is good, this is the aggregate debt structure. As you can see that it's declining over time. It's good for two reasons. One is that it shows that if you have other needs, you'll have the capacity, the community will have the capacity to fund them no matter what the revenue needs would be. And also we're deleveraging ourselves to a long-term goal of the community. When it gets to the exact tax supported debt, I went past it, so it says, you've got the presentation chart I'm going to go to. We really have two issues. We have 17 million, one for the county building authority, the other for the government activities for the energy conservation bonds. As I've indicated, the $6 million for the energy conservation bonds is being self-supported by savings. So we really only have $10 million of operating debt that we're actually paying for. The structure that we have is really good on that. We don't have a long amortization. It's also declining. And we're in a position where we can actually add more debt. Bottom line is, when it comes to selling debt, no one wants to sell debt, but at the same time, you want to know what the interest rates are you have. Earlier this month, interest rates hit lows since the tax-exempt bond market was initiated right after World War II. We're within a trading range of that aspect right now. Federal Reserve's indicated that they're going to keep interest rates and Fed policy low, given the targets of inflation and unemployment. We're a long way from them actually meeting those targets. And most importantly, there's been a tremendous flight to quality. Our high rating, we think, would be very attractive to investors. As a result, we think that we could have a very successful sale. This actually is a graph of the last 20 years of interest rates. As you can see that just in the last month, it actually hit a low. And that low, if it was actually graphed out the entire life that we tracked interest rates, we've actually tracked them on computers since the 60s. It would be the lowest. Actually, we tracked them since 1940s when it took place. It would be the low. They've kind of within a trading range now based on headline risk and supply and demand, but in general, rates are very, very low. This actually shows a graph of the rates we would actually estimate that we sold bonds. We sell serial bonds that actually mature annually. These are the coupons. The real point that we want to make is that if you look at what we would sell, we're anticipating a 25-year issue, and in today's market, on a conservative basis, we'd be under 4%. We're projecting about 3.9%. I'm going to actually turn it over to the finance officer to talk about the plan of finance for this. Well, let me summarize in that the county's been aware that this is a challenge. Besides that, though, it's actively worked to improve its finances on every aspect. It's never been in a better position to borrow if it chooses to borrow. The marketplace itself would be very receptive, both because of the quality of the credit and because the interest rates are low. So no one likes to borrow money, no one wants to borrow money for a jail, but the good news is that right now it's an opportunity time. At the same time, as I tell the staff and I tell all my clients, you don't borrow because rates are low, you borrow because you have a project and you want to fund it. But I want to give the highest confidence to the citizens of the county that if they go forward with a project, we anticipate a highly successful bond sale at a very low interest rate.
Thank you, Jim. And just to kind of show you, okay, you've got market conditions, you have our debt capacity, you have our credit. Now, the really nitty-gritty is to how we intend to pay for this. Oops, wrong direction. As Jim indicated, we have cash on hand that we've been saving over a term of years. And with that cash, that's really going to help us pay down the amount of debt of the project right away from the start. We're going to withhold just a touch of it to be able to handle any capitalized interest as we bond ahead of, obviously, when shovel hits ground. So obviously, once you receive that money, you start incurring interest on it. So this money will become very handy to be able to pay off some of that interest as we move along until shovel hits ground. Now, with one of the good things that come out of obviously going with new construction are those efficiencies of having the latest and greatest technology, as the gentleman from Ottawa County can tell you. Right now, excuse me. Right now we have a very vertical structure in our jail, which is very labor intensive. And one of the good things we're going to realize from the new construction is more of a linear, horizontal design and approach to where less people can view safely, and per the standard, more people. So by eliminating staff, existing staff, that we have within the current budget, anywhere between this range, and again, this all depends on where the bids come in at. If bids come in a lot lower than what we anticipate, we're talking obviously a different figure. But if they stay roughly where they're at, you're looking at this range, and obviously the savings that are within our existing budget right now. So the good thing with it, again, is no new taxes. We're not increasing our budget. We're using the budget which we have right now. Okay. Also with it is the county has made existing changes to our medical plan. We went from Blue Cross Blue Shield over to Priority Health, like our friends in Ottawa County did the exact same thing, except for they went with an insured version of it. I know Bob's paying pretty well. We trade notes every day, it seems like. But we self-funded here. And with that self-funding, obviously, as you know, we pay our own claims. Obviously, we have stop loss. I'm not even going to get into that boredom that you probably don't want to hear about. But with that, we have really aggressively seen a downward decline in claims because with Priority Health, we have also paired with that a wellness program for our employees to obviously encourage them to take on healthier lifestyles and habits. So obviously that's reflecting immediately into our claims, which we're very thankful for. But with that, we paired with that wellness program a new prescription plan to where we're incentivizing our county employees and their covered dependents to take on the lowest cost denominator for prescription total refills, you name it, to encourage generic use. And if they do that, and if they go to a network pharmacy provider,